Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Breaking Bitcoin Market Update, your daily source for everything cryptocurrency market news, trading, and education. My name is Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor at CrackingCryptocurrency.com. Hopefully you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. However you happen to be watching us today, wherever you happen to be watching us, whether it's on DLive, Twitch, Trovo, Twitter, YouTube, here on the YouTube, or even maybe possibly on Facebook Live. I do think they call it Meta Live, but I'm always going to call it Facebook Live because it's old and boring, unlike the cryptocurrency market. So let me know how you guys are doing in the chat today. We're going to have a fantastic show for you guys today. We're basically going to stick to the charts. We're going to be looking at the price action here on Bitcoin, Ethereum, the other majors, look at what is moving and look at some potential trading strategies and opportunities moving into Tuesday, guys. So not a lot's changed. Oh, yes, of course. Today is April 5th, 2022, Valley year of our Lord. All right. Anyways, let me know how you guys are doing in the chat. Let me know what you guys are looking at, what you guys are trading, what you guys are interested in. Did some research this morning, again, on the upcoming Pulse Chain launch, just kind of familiarizing myself with that, making sure that all my eggs are in a row with that. So for those of you guys who are unaware, Pulse Chain is Richard Hart's new project, following on the success of Hex. And I did join the cult. I did sacrifice about $7,000 worth of Ethereum into, was it 70? Yeah, personally about 70, or personally about 7 in totality combined with everybody. The pool is about 20,000, so there's a little bit of a thing there. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. Still no release or still no news on the mainnet launch, but following off the success of Hex, looking for a pretty good 10x, 50x here off Pulse Chain. But anyways, let's stick to the charts to keep it basic trading. Overall, my thoughts on the market this morning, again, not too much is happening, guys. We do have some altcoins that are taking off. Dogecoin is up about 19-20%, so good spike on the old Dogecoin. Shout outs to the meme coin holders. Bitcoin itself has not done much. It has pulled back, as we talked about yesterday, looking to take price down to about 43.5 at least is the current price prediction. And it is starting to move in that direction. Bitcoin has pretty much relegated itself to a small 1% to 2% range over the last, I'd say, 16 to 20 hours, ever since the recording of yesterday's show. And kind of the same concept that we'll see when we get into the charts. We have a pretty significant level of resistance that we can see price keep wicking up to and then dropping sharply. So we're going to see if we get the movement finally to the downside if price actually breaks here. But interestingly enough, altcoins are continuing to move. Some are pulling back, the ones that have been performing quite well, but the opportunities are still there, I think, on the shorter time frames for those altcoin trends, or continuing to hold those weekly long positions. So we'll break that all down as we get to the charts and do our top-down analysis. As always, if you guys have any questions, throw them in the chat. And if you guys are not yet in our Discord, make sure to do that. Join at discord.crackingcryptocurrency.com. It's the first link down there in the description. And if you're ever interested in using any of our indicators or learning to trade the way that we do, all the links are in the description. And you can also navigate to the website, crackingcryptocurrency.com. Let's get going, guys. You know, my Stream Deck does not seem to be working this morning. Oh, dear Lord. Close the program, Windows. Close the program. Let's go. Okay. Woo. Bam. See if we can get Stream Deck back up and running. That does improve the quality. There we go. Seems like we're loading. Is everything? Let's check. Let's try a sound effect. There we go. We got this. We got the Stream Deck working, guys. Okay, cool. Everything is working quite well. Double check. Let's see if we can get a. Oh, and now it's decided it doesn't want to work again. Great. Don't you just love technology, guys? Anyways, let's zoom out here to the weekly. Let's also hide drawings so we can keep things nice and easy. And let's go over to the Bitstamp chart so we can do our big analysis on BTC USD here. Okay. All right. So nothing too much to report here, guys. We did talk yesterday about the weekly close. The last weekly close was a doji, an indecision candle. So the market did move up. Bitcoin did move up and break above this level of resistance here. See if I can get my drawings on here. Yeah. So the market did move up, breaking above this level of resistance. We have this candle right here, which was the initiation of this downside movement and was the controller of the range. Basically, the pocket of highest liquidity, the pocket of highest volume on this large weekly candle did act as overhead resistance for Bitcoin's price. We did wick up there, and there were lots of opportunities to trade this range. But interestingly enough, we can see this on the daily. I do want to point this out. We can see this on the daily, okay? Well, really not so much on spot price. All right, so we'll take a look at that when we look at the futures market, actually. So let's just zoom back in here. Okay, so Bitcoin was successfully able to break above overhead resistance 2 weeks ago with this nice bullish candle that ended up closing up about 14%, 13.63 to be exact. And then we stumbled. We ran into a little bit of resistance here. Price is wanting to pull back. So two scenarios here, as I've talked about. Price does pull back into this pocket. This is just a classic break of support and resistance that you would want to see. Bitcoin's price has broken above here on the macro time frame. It will pull back and retest this level of support. And then if it can establish it as support, if demand is high enough, if demand has moved, if market orders have moved, if limit orders have moved from here all the way up to here, up to the 44.5, basically, if we can just maintain support between 43 and 45,000. So if price wicks down into this range, we see accumulation, we see buys, market orders are hitting the bid, but the bid is not moving down, then this is good. This is just a good break of resistance, pull back, retest the old resistance as new support, and then we can push off. Multiple strategies that you can utilize to take advantage of these price movements. For example, on the daily time frame, or even on the 6 hour or the 4 hour, what you can do is you can wait for these pullbacks. You can wait for price to pull back into this pocket, which you may consider it already to be, and look for oversold conditions. If you're using our premium indicators, for example, let's see here on the daily, I'll give you a good example. You can look for buy signals from time transformation. Let's go to the 6 hour and see if we see any here. Let's see here. So yeah, buy signals, for example, we can see this green triangle on time transformation. If you do have the signals enabled on Minx, for example, we can go here and plot reversals. Okay. And we can see those long signals being printed on the chart right here. So for example, you can look for signals like this, long signals. Here's short signals coming in as well, short signals coming in as well. Personally, I have just for my personal trading, I take those off because I developed the indicator. I know exactly how to use it, but those signals are there, of course, for you guys to utilize. Of course, you can use primary signals for trend following. You can use continuations, reversals, take profits, sensitive stop losses, lots of ways you can customize Minx to improve your trading. As well as time transformation. I typically on the stream don't actually use the Heikinashi feature of time transformation, but I've gone over that multiple times, and that's all in our premium content on how to utilize time transformation in multiple time frames to actually have a nice trading setup. So, okay, the only signals I tend to have on the charts are these buy-ins, these oversold and overbought threshold signals, which are just indicators of areas of the market to take action. And if I'm in a long position, I'll use these red triangles to take profits. If I'm in short positions, I will use these as opportunities to take profit on shorts. And then typically with time transformation, I'm looking for divergence, all right? I'm looking for divergence. So as we can see here, we did get a buying opportunity. Here's a good example here. So we have this larger box, this larger green and gray box plotted out. That is the support level that you can see. The previous resistance level here on the weekly chart, here's that same box right here. This weekly resistance level that we broke above, the one that we're currently looking to pull back to and retest as support. If we go back down to the 6 hour time frame, we can see right here, nice hidden bullish divergence, giving you a potential buy signal, again, pulling back into the pocket. We are bullish on the daily in this scenario. Remember, so there's nothing wrong here. This is not in contradiction to PTP. We're looking for continuation trades. Continuation trades do not always have to be crossovers above the baseline. We can use lower time frames, for example, the daily time frame here. If we throw on all our PTP indicators like the baseline, we can see here that for all of these daily bars, price is above the baseline. If price is above the baseline, then we consider price to be bullish, especially if we then combine that with our momentum oscillators and volume, right? So we can see the price is bullish here. You can see it from price action, as well as the fact that price has sustained itself above the daily baseline, which means we can go down to something like the 6 hour or the 4 hour, and we can look for entry opportunities. Here's a beautiful one on the 4 hour time frame. Price corrects, pulls back. We get a bad signal here, and that's all right. Price pulls back into that pocket, and we get that nice buy signal right there. And price moves up, and you could have had a beautiful, let's see here. at 4 to 6%, 4 to about almost 6%, about 5.5% profit opportunity. You got out on the wick, but a nice solid. Here's the sell signal right here. That's a nice solid 4% trade from buy to there's the time transformation crossover on this second red bar that we can see right here. And let's just plot that out. Let's see here. The 2.84, sorry, 2.93%. Oh, 2.93, about 3% trade. And if you're only taking partial profits, right? So at this point, your stop loss would be down here at the beginning of this trade. You take profits here. Once you take some profits here, you move your stop loss up here to break even. You can see that it doesn't get hit on any of these movements. And you have another opportunity to take profit here. You have another opportunity to take profit here. If you're using these, if you're using the cross unders to take profits, you can also, of course, use the unnatural volume indicator from time transformation. As we can see, these. All right, my stream deck isn't working. Of course. 1 second. Close the stream deck again and pull it back up. Come on, Elgato. All right. All right. So, okay, I'm not going to mess with the voice modification because I just want. Okay, cool. You got my drawing tools working now. Here we go. So we can see these unnatural volume diamonds, and those are indications that the volume on any current bar is above the specified level of the volume moving average, right? Which lets you know that there is significant transactions occurring on this bar and something you should be paying attention to. And as we can see, these are occurring basically at the tops. So we can see that orange, that yellow diamond coming in right here, indicating that we have a volume spike. And since we can also see a price tail, good signal that the market's about to move in the opposite direction. If you see a volume spike, so unnatural volume, and a price tail, price tends to move the other way. We can see that happens absolutely right here. This is the top, price moves down. This is over the course of a whole day. So this is a whole day of a short. You get another volume spike down here. Long price tail. You can also see that we're at support. Price moves up. Volume spike right here. This one's a little different. This is typically going to be a volume spike indicating trend beginning or trend continuation, right? So this is a reversal in the direction of what might be the meso trend right here. There's really no established meso trend, but if we look back at the last time the market trended, we can see that that was to the downside. The market was trending here to the downside for a full day, and we've been ranging since, let's see here, since the 1st of April. So for the last 4 days, we've been ranging right here in this range. Clearly established resistance, relatively well-established support. We also have that support that we're looking to establish on a higher time frame here. As we can see, the weekly time frame, this was previous resistance, and we are attempting to establish this as support. Too early to call it support yet. We need to actually come down, hold the level, and then move up from it to establish it as support. But that is the game plan. Okay. So not too much here coming in from the weekly time frame. We do, of course, have the larger narrative that we are trading in, guys. And this is the cycle of correction that Bitcoin seems to have. When Bitcoin reaches a market high after a long period of markup, right? A markup is a Wyckoff term in Wyckoff trading terminology that simply means the market is trending up. I prefer, and I am attempting to not use the terms like bull market or bear market anymore, because I find that they are highly emotionally charged words. And they tend to make people make emotionally based decisions. Oh, we're in a bull market. That just means buy everything. Oh, we're in a bear market. That means sell everything. That's not the way the market works. That is how retail traders think. And the way the market actually works is that there are periods of accumulation. And then once accumulation has finished, once large investors, once smart traders and smart money have filled their bags, the period of markup begins. And typically the retail trader will buy somewhere near the middle or the top of the markup phase, and especially you will get herding that occurs at the top. And then we will have a process called distribution, where all of the individuals who bought down here, who are smart money, will use the liquidity of everyone who is buying in mass up here to exit their positions, and then eventually they completely sell off their positions, and retail has no more money to buy and bid the market up anymore, and the market marks down. All right, so there are periods of accumulation, distribution, markup, and markdown. That is the way the market actually works. Behind GB Wally identifies as a bull. I identify as an attack helicopter, my friend. So So that is the way the market actually works. So what's your, I'm an attack helicopter, bro. My pronoun is buzz. Let's see here. So sorry, the larger narrative, of course, that I'm speaking about is after Bitcoin reaches a cycle high, it does tend to correct first down to the 55 weekly exponential moving average. It then puts in a small markup phase or a bounce, and then it ultimately corrects down to the 100 weekly moving average, where it will then put in a secondary bounce. Now, that secondary bounce can be larger than the first bounce. We've seen it happen a couple different ways. Back in 2017, when we corrected down to the 55 weekly after reaching the market high of about 19,700 at that point in time, we corrected down to the 55 weekly exponential moving average down here around $6.5 thousand. We did then bounce only to overhead EMA resistance of the 8, 13, and 21. We corrected down, and then each subsequent bounce was lower and lower and lower. And we did play out this big descending triangle formation in Bitcoin over the year of 2018 before we ultimately collapsed in November of 2018 down to the market low at that time, which is, again, you can see that weekly buy signal from time transformation there as well. So very nice to see. However, let's see here. In 2019, as you can see, when we reached the then high, not the all-time high, but the then high of about $14,000, we corrected down to the 55, put in a bounce, corrected down to the 100, and then we bounced slightly higher, almost equal, but just a little bit higher there. And then we pulled back down. And in 2021 through 2022, interestingly enough, we did correct down to the 55, and then we made a bounce higher than the all-time high and made a new all-time high. But again, almost you can see here very similar in essence to what we saw in 2019, where when we bounced, we made an equal bounce. The only difference is this peak right here, if over here is the same as here, for example. Does that make sense? We actually made a new all-time high. So it's unclear exactly whether or not we can expect a equal high or maybe a slightly higher high before correcting down to the 200 weekly moving average. But and it's no certainty that that will happen, but of course that is the larger narrative that I am expecting here from Bitcoin ultimately. So if price does get down here to the 200 weekly moving average, time and time again, it has indicated the market bottom. Time and time again, it has indicated the market bottom. So do not ignore the 200 weekly moving average, simple moving average. It is a very powerful bottom magnet tool for Bitcoin's price action and the point where you kind of want to back the truck up. All right. So people have asked me, I get asked all the time, Justin, what's the price at which you would just unload your bank account? And it's about $20,000, right? $21,000. All right. So right here, this is the price. Okay. Of course, you should never unload your bank account. You should always treat trading as a profession and trade responsibly with proper risk management, which means never going all in on any asset. But if you want to know an area where taking more risk is statistically likely to work in your favor, right here, the 200 weekly simple moving average. Okay, unload. So, all right. We all need a little degeneracy in our lives once in a while. Okay, guys. All right. So moving on from that. So big picture here again, weekly time frame. We would like to see Bitcoin establish 43.5 between $42,000 and $45,000 as new support. And then it'd be nice to get a newer high weekly close. I would be satisfied with the weekly close here above 46,800. That would be higher than the previous bullish engulfing candle. That would be nice to see. And then again, the areas that I'm looking for of interest for price here are going to be 52 to 59,000. I think that is a likely area. I think it's totally reasonable as well that price can actually come up here and then correct down to the 200 weekly moving average. Completely rational, completely reasonable. We've seen it time and time again. Bitcoin corrected 50% in what, like a couple days, in a couple weeks back in May of 2021. So the idea that the market is fundamentally different now in 2022 is misguided at best. Okay, daily time frame where we do most of our trading. We do have overhead resistance here in the form of the 200 daily simple moving average, a tough nut to crack. We haven't been able to get over it. Positive to see that all of our other moving averages are below price and angled up. This is a good indication that we are potentially entering into a bullish trend. If we can get over the 200 daily simple moving average, then we will essentially be over all our major forms of resistance, and we can look pretty clearly for that $52,000 to $59,000 price target. Again, the reason, and a couple justifications for this. One, I look at where the volume is. And as we can see, there's a ton of volume on this candle right here. Let's get the EMAs off so you guys can see this a little clearly. This candle right here is a significant outlier. You guys can't see. Let me slide over here. There we go. This candle right here is a significant outlier in volume. And for that reason, I do like to use candle closes. So for that reason, I do expect price to eventually want to come back and revisit this area. Okay. So we can see that's stretching from 49,234 to 53,685. As we can also see, we also have these highs right here. So anybody that is, as price moves up, you're going to have off-sided traders entering shorts. And where's the most logical area for them to be placing their stop losses? Well, they're likely going to be placing their stop losses above previous highs. This is where retail traders always place their stop losses. So just for liquidity's sake, where a lot of liquidity is going to be, I think this is a relatively safe zone for us to expect Bitcoin's price to go following this sustained daily breakout. Now, it's of course entirely possible that Bitcoin does fail here, that demand is not able to bid up price, that we actually don't sustain this level of support, and we trade back down into the range. We'll deal with that when it comes. I'm not really interested in those levels until I see this area break, till I see this movement fail. Right now, I can see that Bitcoin has done something that it hasn't done previously. It's broken above a level of resistance, and then it didn't just immediately dump down, right? Bitcoin's price has not just immediately dumped down. We've pulled back. We are consolidating. We've got some good fundamentals coming up. We've got the Bitcoin conference coming up here in just a few short weeks. And so for those reasons, I think that we can, overall, I am expecting higher prices here on Bitcoin, 52.59. And a rising tide lifts all boats, so I do expect altcoins to continue to perform well. However, should Bitcoin break this current level of support, not able to sustain itself above previous resistance, then that's out the window, guys. These things change quickly, and you have to be prepared for that. So don't write in the comments if Bitcoin goes down to 39,000 tomorrow. Justin, you said Bitcoin was going 52.59. That's not the way the market works, and I am not a psychic, all right? You trade the chart that's in front of you, you apply proper strategy, you apply risk management, and if you have a good trading strategy, you make money in the long run, and you don't, that's it. That's as simple as that. That's it. It's not this mystical voodoo understanding the which way things are going to go. It's math, okay? It's simple math. And if you understand the math, you can make money in this market. If you don't understand the math, then you're going to struggle to consistently make money and be a consistently profitable trader. That's just the truth. You need to understand statistics, you need to understand strategy, you need to understand market mechanics, and you need to take the time to sit down, discipline yourself, and trade properly. That's the way, that's the route to success. If you think you're gonna get lucky, listen. So recently I made a video like how to find 100x altcoins, and we are in a particularly interesting market where it is possible to find a crypto gem and 50x, 20x, 100x. It's totally possible, right? You know, like I started investing in Bitcoin in 2016, and if not for one of those, I likely would not be where I am now. I'd likely be doing something different. But it's the same thing, right? I didn't put my money into some random thing that I didn't understand. Like, I deeply studied Bitcoin. I deeply studied it. I deeply came to learn to understand it. I deeply came to believe in it, and to understand everything that all the potential that it could have. I've now educated myself more on Ethereum and its possibilities to help transform and change the world. I've since educated myself on what are the current problems with Ethereum and what are the likely paths forward. So I'm very interested in the merge. I'm very interested in other opportunities, other layer ones. And so because of that, I have over time, over the last year particularly, diversified more my portfolio. I used to be, you know, for those of you guys who have watched the show for a long time, you certainly could have characterized me more as a Bitcoin maximalist going back a couple of years. And this might upset some people, but I just have to be honest about who I am and my journey as a human being and the things that I have come to understand and change. And when you feel that you have been wrong about something, the proper thing to do is to correct yourself, educate yourself, admit yourself, and then move on with your life. Because at the end of the day, you know what I mean? It's you, right? It's you with yourself at the end of the day. So while I do feel that Bitcoin is the sound money proposition that can help the world, I'm also open to an understanding of the pinching points for Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin is in some ways a knee-jerk, you know, the idea of the Bitcoin fiat standard, the idea of Bitcoin as the world reserve currency is somewhat of kind of going back the opposite way. There is a reason that we got off the gold standard, because it did make dealing with financial crises very difficult, right? So, for example, thank you, Robert. I appreciate that, man. So, for example, we recently had a global pandemic that was followed by a little bit of a recession, and that recession only lasted less than 2 years. Okay, it lasted like 14 months. Okay, this is largely in part to the fact that the Federal Reserve went money printer go burr. That's what they did. However, if we go back and look at previous recessions when we were under the gold standard, they lasted for years. They lasted for years, and economic conditions became untenable, like terrible. For many people, so this is a problem with a monetary standard, with a reserve currency that is deflationary or is hard to inflate. There is a reason that the world did move away, and it's not all conspiracy theory. So, in that sense, Ethereum might perhaps be positioned as a better reserve currency, particularly if it continues to grow market share like it is, and if for example, proof of stake, if Ethereum's move to proof of stake does significantly reduce gas fees, if it does significantly improve the user experience, or whatever combination of scaling solutions, layer twos, cross-chain bridges, all these kind of things that could possibly be used in the future of cryptocurrency and the future of money. But if identities, if real estate, if investments in stocks, if physical property, is all began, which it will eventually. It's just whether it's going to be on Ethereum or some other chain. But the future is certainly the idea of storing all sorts of information, ownership rights, and identity on the blockchain. So the idea is who is going to do it better. So, anyways. You know, I would love to have Richard Hart on the live stream. I would not be opposed to that. Did I ever do technical analysis on Hex? What was the outcome? Curious. Richard Hart has announced a new token he is launching, Pulse Chain. Yep, I am familiar with Pulse Chain. I did sacrifice. I did participate in the sacrifice. I sacrificed about $7,000 worth of Ethereum personally, and I helped coordinate about 20. I want to say 20. I know it was is a little bit more than that, but I'm going to say 20,000 between a few individuals to kind of go in on the deal. It's always me with myself at the end of the day. And yeah, Blue Box, you've got to listen. This is why I'm trying to keep an open mind, right? Like, I don't know which way the future is gonna go. I just allocate my capital as I see risk. So I see Bitcoin and Ethereum as being very low risk, and then I have smaller positions in the other things. So, for example, I have a position in Phantom. I have a position in Avalanche. And one of the projects that I'm most excited about and that I'm starting to build a larger position in is Cosmos, and to a smaller extent, Stargate. So I do think that Cosmos is a really cool project. You know, I've got the Kepler wallet, and I've been I've been diversifying my Cosmos portfolio and things like Osmo and Juno lately. And so interoperability and composability is going to be huge on the Ethereum side of things. However, on the Bitcoin side of things, the Lightning Network and Blockstack working to build decentralized applications and basically everything that exists on Ethereum on top of Bitcoin is very exciting too. I participated in Blockstack's ICO. I still hold all my Blockstack from the ICO, so I was an early investor in Blockstack, still an investor in Blockstack. It's one of my favorite projects, and I get a lot of staking rewards from it too. So I stack my stacks, and I get Bitcoin as rewards. Of course, they sell it back into stacks, and I actually get stacks. But I digress. Okay, guys, we've been on this for a while, so it's 11:46. Let's sidle on. Let's move along, shall we? Okay. Daily time frame. Let's get the drawings off the charts, and I want to look at now just what a PTP strategy would be doing right here, right now. Okay. So I want to use No, let's do... Let's go ahead and use WADA just because, you know, it's very consistent. We're going to take the false positive filter off. Okay, so for the current daily movement in Bitcoin, we do have time transformation giving the buy signal. Now, when we are looking for trending trades, for those of you guys who are not familiar with the way we trade, we use time transformation, and this is just one way to use it, but this is one way we teach in the course. We're looking for a centered oscillator cross, right? So we have a momentum oscillator. You could take, for example, like stochastic or the RSI, but we use time transformation. It's based on Fisher transform, which in my opinion is just better than stochastic and MACD and RSI and all that beginner stuff. But we're looking for the signal line to cross above zero, right? And when it does that, it's indicating that the market is moving from bearish to bullish, right? Or from markdown to markup, or from consolidation to the market's moving up is what it's indicating, right? So we use that as a primary signal. We can see that did occur on this candle right here. So that's the 18th of March, 2022. We do have WADA explosion showing us a rising explosion level around that same time. We also have alpha. We also have green bars above the explosion level, which is, we call that positive delta, and that's an indication that we should be trading to the long side as well. Minx is a little slower here. Minx does give the upside cross. Actually, no, sorry. It gives the upside cross on, sorry, time transformation signaled here. And Minx signaled here, excuse me. Now, we can also see at that time that price is above the baseline, one of our requirements to trade. So everything happens here on this candle, and we can enter into our trading position. So just for that daily signal right here, let's bust out Quadriga and go back in time. So with Quadriga, that's another indicator available to all our subscribers. We use it for our stop and take profits. And we can see that we have targets of 44,000, 46,000, and 48,000. Okay, so let's play the tape forward. We'll take Quadriga off. Let's play the tape forward and see how this would have done. We are looking for, boom, there's take profit 1. All right, price keeps moving. There's take profit 2. Okay, and maybe I think take profit 3 was actually up here a little bit. So, okay, so all good. Okay. Now we do have that sell signal from time transformation. So if you were not using Quadriga, and if you were just using all in, all out, which is another strategy we use, where you're going to take more risk and you're going to be wrong more often, but when you're right, you're going to get outsized rewards. So this is more of a classic trend following type of strategy, where you are looking to maximize your return by trying to grab the most of the movement and not by taking partial profits on the way up. This is dangerous because you're not always going to catch those movements, and you will get stopped out more often, or you will have smaller losses more often. However, when you do get when you do get a win, it will be a large win. And so it just depends on whether you think that's worth it. Generally, you just got to crunch the numbers and do the math. But if you're just using the exit signal as well to take partial profits, move your stop loss up, and potentially add to your position on the next dip, you've got a good situation here. Okay. And overall, Bitcoin hasn't really done anything from that area. Bitcoin continuing to hold above the baseline. The baseline is right there at support. So we also have another version, another strategy here for a re-entry, for a continuation trade. Continuation trades come in many flavors. We can look for, of course, daily crossovers of time transformation or Minx here. Is one way we can do this. The other way we can do this is we can look for price to come down to the baseline or closer to the baseline, and then we can use a lower time frame. Like, take the baseline, and we're going to stick this on the daily. So we're always using the daily baseline here. Okay, so we can see the daily baseline right down here. And what we can do is we can look for oversold signals on a lower time frame for basically dip buys, right? Continuation trades. That's another flavor of a continuation trade. So we can look for one of those trades here. As you can see, there's a good one here. Potentially you took this regular bullish divergence here for a very small trade, so not too much movement there. Or you can just wait for price to get closer to the daily baseline. The other thing you can do too is you can look for a bullish crossover, right? This is going to be a crossover of the signal line and the trigger, or the Minx line and the noise line right here on Minx. And as long as we're above the baseline, that's going to be a classic continuation signal, and we can take price back up. We're not seeing any of that now, so I don't see any reason to be entering a continuation long trade right here. Some price action things that we could watch out for, of course, is going to be on the lower time frames maybe. We can wait. We can look for this resistance level right here to be broken. We want to see volume, and we want to see a strong candle close above that level of resistance, and then we can take a breakout trade. That's one way we can do this. Otherwise, I would be looking for bid entries down here lower at support, or I would be waiting for some objective indicator signal on the higher timeframes like the daily, looking for that crossover. Now, keep in mind that if we do get a crossover on the daily, it's possible that that will also occur as Bitcoin is closing above this level of resistance. So that's one way to view this as well. However, all of that aside, I am looking relatively I am looking for a breakdown of this range, and I'll tell you why. Now, it is possible that let's look at the narrative of the market makers here. So we have overhead resistance, and we can see that price has wicked up aggressively into this area, meaning that aggressive market buying was occurring, and the price and Bitcoin's price went nowhere. It went absolutely nowhere. It got stuck in this range, and every time we've come up here, we have rejected, right? We have rejected, and I would say that every time we've rejected a little bit more violently. So here here's the first rejection right here. Here, we rejected more violently because we made a lower low. And here, I would say we rejected more violently because we rejected with significantly more volume and much faster, right? A 4-hour candle went all the way down here. And while Bitcoin is trying to make a higher low here, this is relatively anemic volume. There's almost no buying pressure happening right here. And so for that reason, I would expect prices to eventually drift lower here, down to either that 44.5 or maybe even to wick down to 43.5, faking out that daily baseline. Of course, we do want to see price above the baseline. And it's totally fine now here on the lower timeframes. If price goes a little bit below the baseline, like price can come all the way down here, that's fine. As long as it closes back up, right? As long as we eventually get back up here relatively quickly. We don't want to be hanging out below the daily baseline. If we're hanging out below the daily baseline, then we want to be looking at daily shorts is what we typically want to be doing. So, so for those reasons, I am looking negatively at price right here. Potentially a failure down to the baseline, and then we get a continuation trade back up because that's what the weekly is suggesting. And that's also what the daily is suggesting. But anything can happen, guys. So if we start to lose these key levels, right? If we really close down below 43,000, or, you know, you can get even nervous on a daily close below the daily baseline. We might want to be rethinking the direction that we're trading in here. But for now, not too much. Are there any day trading opportunities that I see right here? No, I actually see. So I do see a short right here. I do think this is a relatively not a bad area to be looking for a short. Obviously, you don't typically like to short near support. You typically want a long support. So there is that trade on the table as well. You can assume that if you want to range trade this or reversion to the mean, you can say that, okay, this is support, this is resistance. Price is closer to support than resistance. So we'll take the long and look to exit back up in support, or excuse me, at resistance. And that there's nothing wrong with that. I just think that in this situation, we've had so many rejections from this area of resistance and such a violent rejection down. Now we're coming up. Again, volume, almost no volume on this movement to the upside. And now we're getting this inverted hammer candle. I would expect lower prices off of this candle as well, which should bode well for the other position that I'm in. So that's enough about Bitcoin, guys. Let me know if you have any questions about that analysis. Quick recap here. The weekly is looking relatively bullish. We do have the narrative of potential bounce up to 52.59. Especially if we can pull back and hold this level as support. On the daily time frame, we did have a classic pathways to profit style trade, trend following trade here. And now we're just looking for a pullback closer to the daily baseline for potentially a continuation trade so we can get in at a lower price and take price a little bit higher. Or looking for a break above this level of resistance. On the meso timeframes, things are looking a little bit more negative. We have had multiple rejections from this level of resistance, which makes this kind of a broad swing failure pattern with multiple retests of that level of resistance and looking for price to actually for sure deviate down here a little bit closer to this level of support. However, if we break this level of resistance, then things are out. We are looking for more markup, less markdown, and we're going to be moving up from there. And on the lower timeframes, I do see a short opportunity coming in right now, perhaps down to 44, 43.5. Okay, let's go take a look at crypto bubbles and see what the rest of the market is doing. We do have Dogecoin up here, as I said, about 18.4%. RUNE pumping up about 10%. USD Neutrino, which is the stable coin on the Waves network, This is Neutrino USD, and Waves, of course, is up a massive percent, like 400% recently since they basically rebranded and redid everything and launched all these new decentralized applications. The only issue is that with the Waves ecosystem, it's a closed ecosystem. It's not Ethereum. It's not EVM compatible, so you can't really do any. It's entirely closed ecosystem. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. Waves is an OG blockchain. It's been around since Waves has been around since I have been in the game. So, but recently, USDN. So let's look at the chart here. USDN is an algorithmic stablecoin, and USDN over the last week did of course lose its peg drastically. So if we can go back and look at USD, it's a stable coin. So this is the price that it's supposed to be at. It's supposed to be pegged to $1. And as we can see, the market just absolutely tanked, and the USDN did lose its peg, moving all the way down to, what was the low? Yeah, 0.75. So a massive liquidations, huge problem here, guys. So, but we are bouncing back up, and it does seem as if we have now reestablished, close to reestablishing the peg. So, maybe, if you're a Waves maximalist, or if you're bullish on Waves, then maybe you took advantage of this and bought the USDN dip. It's a big trade. We do have Mina protocol up about 18.2%. CeeLo, SKL, I've been hearing the Scale network. I've been hearing some news about that. Filecoin rose. Overall, relatively decent day for the markets. But Dogecoin, Mina, RUNE, and USDN being the biggest movers. And typically we don't trade stable coins. But yeah, so that's all I'll talk about. So let's look at some of these big movers. Let's look at Doge and RUNE and Mina and see if we can find any opportunities there. So let's actually switch to the half chart here, guys, for the sake of variety. And let me take an opportunity to just shout outs to the chat here a little bit. Excuse me. Chris Hinshaw, good to see you, my friend. We are back. Mr. Ether Robert Warner, Alex81SG, B-Flow, Conscious Criminal. He says, my spell long is hurting my soul. Cryptonomics, good to see you, my friend. Richard Hart has pulled another hex. Profit Bear, good to see you as well. B-Flow's been having a lot of fun trading the time transformation with the reversal super duper demon line bounce. Good, man. Nice. Alex81SG asks, can I explain how the pulse thingy works in a few words? Yeah, sure. Let me try my best. So as the story goes, let's actually here. Let me get chapsticked up for this one. All right. So as the story goes, Richard Hart launched Hex, maybe to help the crypto community, maybe to become a billionaire. Who knows? Probably a combination of the two. Anyways, he launched the project Hex. Hex was designed to kind of be a certificate of deposit, an idea that you could hold Hex, you could buy Hex, and it would increase in value consistently over time due to the tokenomics, the Ponzi-nomics, whatever you'd like to call it. Hex has done insanely well. It's done absolutely insanely well, like multiple X's, right? If you invested in Hex, you did amazingly well. There were multiple ways to get Hex. Hex was airdropped for free to anyone who held Bitcoin at the time of the snapshot. They did have to go claim it within a year, so that's no longer available to you. But Hex was airdropped for free to all Bitcoin holders, potentially. You just had to take advantage of it. The other way that you could get Hex, though, was that you could sacrifice. That's not the term they used, but you could. It was called the adoption amplifier. You could send Ethereum to a wallet address, most likely Richard Hart's wallet address, and in return you would get Hex, right? And the more Ethereum that you sent and the earlier you sent it, the more Hex that you would get. So obviously there was a lot of ideas or conversation about, is this a scam? Is Hex a real thing? Is it going to do well? Well, Richard Hart promoted his project very well. Richard Hart became very popular. He was already very popular, of course, and he just built a very strong following. And this is one of the benefits of building a digital audience. So for you guys out there who are traders or who are programmers or who are whatever you're doing, I highly recommend you build an audience, right? Whether you want to do that on YouTube, better be good at video editing. Whether you want to do that on Instagram, better be good at taking photos. Or whether you want to do that on Twitter, you better be good at writing threads. you want to build an audience, you want to build a brand, you want to let people know who you are, you want to stand for something, you want to establish yourself, because an audience just improves your life in so many different ways. You know, an audience allows you to monetize anything that you want to do, and it makes your life better. Okay, if there's any project you want to launch, you immediately have an audience. If it allows you to build supporters, it allows you to meet people, it allows you to network, opportunities and jobs will come to you if you build an audience. It's just what you want to do. So Richard Hart did that very well. He's very good at self-promotion. And if you want to make it in the game, you have to be unabashedly unafraid of self-promotion. Okay. At the same time, you want to remain humble and respect the people that helped you get to where you get. So this is why I try to take as much time as I can to take time with my community, to help the traders that are following along with me, to take one-on-one time with them, to do mentorship with them, to continually improve our products. Because this show would not be possible without you guys. It wouldn't, right? You guys are one of the main reasons. You guys are the reason that I do this. So it's cool. Anyways, sorry. So you could send your Ethereum into, let's say, Richard Hart's wallet address and get a lot of Hex. And Hex did amazingly well. Okay, but the problem is, as the story goes, that during the time that Hex was booming, the Ethereum blockchain became very congested with fees, and gas was astronomical. So of course, sending a simple transaction of Ethereum has always been relatively inexpensive, but of course it did jump up to like $50 at one point in time. The same thing happened on the Bitcoin blockchain back in 2017, and there was a BIP to improve transaction fees on Bitcoin. And there have been multiple EIPs, Ethereum Improvement Proposals, to improve transaction costs on the Ethereum network. In fact, recently, EIP 1559 slashed gas fees by about 50%. But the problem is when you interact with a smart contract like Uniswap, there are about 10 different transactions that are occurring behind the scenes, and they take up much more there's much more bytes, much more data that has to go onto the blockchain, and thus you have an exponentially more expensive transaction. So, for example, interacting with Uniswap now can cost anywhere from like $14 to $30, but it used to be like $100 to $300 to interact with Uniswap. So this was a problem, because if you wanted to send your Hex, if you wanted to send any ERC20 token, but if you wanted to send Hex from one wallet address to another, or you wanted to interact with the Hex trading pair on Uniswap to actually trade your Hex for USDC or whatever, it was pricing retail traders out of the game. So, as the story goes, Richard Hart thought to himself, how about, what if we could make a better version of Ethereum? Now, Richard Hart is not the first person to have thought this, right? Obviously, there are many other layer one competitors to Ethereum, so-called Ethereum killers like Cardano, Solana, Polkadot, Avalanche, Phantom, the list goes on. And there are many layer two solutions that are built on top of the Ethereum blockchain, such as Arbitrum, Optimism, Polygon, or Matic. So all of these opportunities, Richard Hart is not unique in the idea that he thought, what if I could make a better Ethereum, right? Well, Ethereum made billions of dollars. So Richard Hart came up with this relatively kind of unique idea. He is going to hard fork the Ethereum blockchain, right? Which means that every wallet address that exists on Ethereum with Ethereum and all of the ERC20 tokens, ER721 tokens, so all NFTs, everything is going to be identical on Pulse Chain. So very similar to Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. If you guys were around for that, when Bitcoin Cash hard forked from Bitcoin, if you had money on the Bitcoin blockchain, you had money on Bitcoin Cash. Now, its value wasn't the same in dollar terms because the market is going to determine the value of the new token. But in all other words, it's identical, right? And the wallet addresses remain the same as well. So Pulse Chain is a hard fork of Ethereum. However, there are going to be some changes and modifications. It is immediately going to be proof of stake. All right. So there are going to be validators. So for those of you guys who are unfamiliar with the difference between proof of work and proof of stake, I have a video on that here on the YouTube channel. Go check that out. But essentially, it won't be proof of work like Ethereum currently is. Of course, Ethereum is going to be moving to proof of stake sometime. But it will immediately be proof of stake with validators. I mean, there's a lot more to it, but that's essentially it, right? So we're going to have like significantly lower gas fees, like, you know, they're supposed to be nominal, of course, like gas fees on Cosmos, for example, are like $0. Phantom Opera, they're like a couple pennies, but you know, you get my point. It's going to be a significantly cheaper blockchain. It's supposed to be much more energy efficient. Now, I don't think in any way, shape, or form Richard Hart is going to successfully get all the decentralized application developers and creators to migrate from Ethereum. So I don't see, and Richard Hart himself doesn't promote Pulse Chain as an Ethereum killer. Richard Hart promotes it as an Ethereum helper, right? To he's like, well, we'll just take a little bit of the load off the Ethereum network, right? So we'll get, maybe 10% of all the transactions and activity moving over to the Ethereum blockchain. That will uncongest the Ethereum blockchain. In reality, I mean, you can call that what you want. That's not helping, right? That's taking market share. This is a competitive world. And so if you're taking transaction activity off of Ethereum, you are a competitor to Ethereum. So it's not an Ethereum helper. It is an Ethereum competitor. But I digress. But Richard Hart is amazingly skilled in promoting his own projects. Hex was not a scam. Pulse Chain, there of course are some questions, right? So I have full disclaimer, right? I have about $7,000 invested in the Pulse Chain project. And it would be wonderful to turn that $7,000 into $700,000, okay? Because that's roughly what might have happened if I would have invested in Hex. So very similar with Pulse Chain, you had the option to sacrifice. You could have sacrificed Ethereum, Bitcoin, like all kinds of cryptocurrencies and ERC20 tokens. You could have sent to the sacrifice addresses, and the way they worded this is very unique, and so it absolutely could be a rug pull. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys to invest in Pulse Chain. In fact, you can't sacrifice any longer. The sacrifice window is closed. So if you guys did not sacrifice, and if you are interested in getting Pulse Chain, you'll have to wait until it's on the open market, if it ever comes to the open market. So you always have to be aware that these things can be rug pulled. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. Richard Hart has been a very public figure, and I think overall Richard Hart understands that there, in the long run, is a lot more money that he can potentially make by creating a legitimate project and by just scamming and rug pulling. But we'll see. I think it's like close to $700 million was sacrificed for Pulse Chain. And then there's also Pulse X, which is going to be a clone of Uniswap. It's a fork of the Uniswap code. So there will immediately be a decentralized exchange called Pulse X on the Pulse Chain network. And there was like $900 million sacrificed for the Pulse X. So big project, a lot of money in it already. And if it does anything like Hex, it'll probably do like a 50 to 100x. So we'll see. Richard Hart's an interesting character, and we'll see where the market takes us. So that's Pulse Chain in a nutshell. If you guys, of course, I'm not an expert. If you guys think I forgot anything or missed anything, let me know in the comments down below. Let me finish going through the chat here. And we'll go over to the half chart again. Profit Bear says, do you think we just come back down to 44.2 and then off to the races? Love the Metal Gear alarm. Thank you, my friend. So what I would expect from price, honestly, what I would expect here from BTC is something very similar to that. I would like to see price come down here to the daily baseline, and then I just kind of want to wait, right? If I see like a bullish signal here on the meso time frame, 6 hour, 4 hour, from time transformation and minks, we get oversold, and then we get a crossover, and then we get some buying volume coming in, then I'm going to be a buyer, and I'm going to look to take price up to 52.59. That's going to be a reversal baseline bounce. So I'll take a stab at the reversal baseline bounce if I see everything line up as well, kind of on those meso timeframes. So that's another way that you can kind of hone and improve your reversal baseline bounce as well. You can use the meso timeframes to get an idea of whether price is actually reversing based on volume or your indicators. But yeah, overall things are looking good. I'd like to see us off to the races. Now, do I expect massive sell-offs during the Miami conference like last year? No, not really. Because it's possible. It's possible. But I think we were in a little bit of a different phase of the market last year. We had all that COVID crisis. GBU Wally, what's up, my brother? Jordan Stotts, Mud, a crypto caveman in the crib. Big shout outs. Good to see good old Wise tell the people what's what. Ron Legato. Bitcoin player 77 over on Twitch says Bitcoin is like an old car, slow and shiny, but bad to drive. GB Wally says, yo, dog, I heard you liked stacks, so I stacked my stacks with stacks on block stacks with block stacks. Yeah, dog. In the hizzy. Oh, was that a biggest nutshell? Yeah, sorry. Jibbles, what's going on, bro? He says, thanks for your analysis. I would welcome your opinion on a pattern on a 3-week chart for Bitcoin where the 10 MA crossed below the 20 MA. It seems like this has led to incoming bottoming action. So we are essentially looking for kind of a death cross maneuver. So we're going to look at the 3-week chart. We are going to look at the 3-week chart, and we want to look at the 10 and the 20. I'm guessing a simple moving average. Hopefully I have this right. The 10 and the 20, simple moving average. And you're saying that you have noticed that when the 10 MA crosses below the 20 MA, it seems this has led to incoming bottoming action. Let's take a gander. So in this example, the 10 MA is the red and the 20 MA is the orange. So let's zoom in and see what we got. Let's go back to 2014. So here we have a bearish cross under right here, and it led to significantly more downside. And here we go. It led to significantly more downside. Here in 2020, it did indicate the bottom. And we do not yet have that happening right now. So just based on this, it is hard to correlate the movements that occurred back in the teens with what we expect to happen now. There is this law of help me out here, guys. There is this law of sorry guys, I'm forgetting the word, but it's decreasing returns, right? Over time. Bitcoin started from 0 and, so it did 1,000x, right? And then it did like a 500x. And then so next time it'll probably do a 250x, or 250%, excuse me. So as price moves up, as the market cap rises, as liquidity rises, as volume rises, then it's much harder to make the same percentage moves. So this is why you'll see a lot of money or risk rotate into the other altcoins, because they have such a smaller market capitalization that it takes significantly less money to move them a significant percentage point. So, and the same applies to moving averages, right? So we can see back here in the past, these moving average crossovers are very clean and easy to trade. But as time goes on, and we noticed this, I've noticed this with stocks as well, right? If you go back with the SPY, for example, the most liquid asset, then moving average crossovers, if you go back like 10 or 20 years ago, moving average crossovers were tradable on the SPY. They led to movements, right? So you could trade them and make money as a trader. But as time has moved on with the SPY, those moving average crossovers become harder and harder to make money off of because the SPY is just moving less. It's not moving as much. It's harder to make the same percentage moves because you need a significantly larger amount of money because the order books are thicker. The liquidity is more. So same with Bitcoin. Now, while I am an advocate for moving average crossover strategies, I think you can make a lot of money, especially in altcoins, trading a moving average crossover strategy because they're just volatile enough that you can actually get a profitable move before price reverses the other way, even in consolidation periods. Now, not all the time. Don't run out and throw all your money into a moving average crossover, but experiment. And I think you'll find that there is money to be made out there with a simple strategy still. Now, I will say one thing, and I'll check the chat and make sure that I didn't get this wrong. Yeah, law of diminishing returns. Thank you guys so much, right? Yeah, Murphy's Law is whatever can go wrong will go wrong. B-Flow says dementia returns. Are you still with us, brother? However, what I will say, the difference that I note here and why I think in this previous example right here, why I do think this helped call the bottom is because we were already in, and we had already bottomed. And this was just even though it was a pretty huge pullback in the great scheme of things, it was a pullback in the direction of, it was a pullback in the opposite direction of the overall trend. So we had already bottomed here. And therefore, when the moving average crossover occurred here, we were kind of in this consolidation period. So this is the one time where we see the moving average crossover to the top signal the top, and the moving average crossover to the bottom signal the bottom. It's a little bit of a consolidation period before we actually broke out in the direction of the actual trend. So having said that, if we zoom in here, we can see that we are hinting at a moving average crossover to the downside. So since we do seem to be in this big range of consolidation, macro scale, it's very possible that we could see that, right? Where we get the moving average crossover price, and this is going to have to occur on a down candle. So price is going to have to come back down here into the 30,000s. But that does actually signal the bottom. That's a potential. That's a potential, right? I don't want to put too much weight or money on this, but this is just what I can see. From what I can see, man. I appreciate that, Jibbles. Thank you for watching the stream, my brother. The law that runs, yes, yeah. Whatever can go wrong will go wrong, absolutely. Elegant, thank you so much for the subscription over there on YouTube. And Nameen RL, thank you so much for that follow over on Twitch, I do believe. Okay. Oh, guys. Oh, what a day. Okay. Wall Street closes up, says yes to jobs, no to yes. Yeah, whatever. All right, so we've been streaming for a while, guys. Give me a few moments for a little bit of shameless promotion here. First off, huge shout out to everybody watching the stream. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show and what we do here. If you guys are enjoying the content, make sure to support the stream. It does really help out, and I do appreciate it. If you're on YouTube, smashing the like button is always appreciated. Subscription if you guys want to stay updated, because we do go live as often as we can, produce video content, and try to share as much alpha with you as humanly possible. In addition to that, if you guys are watching on Twitch, DLive, Twitter, you guys can give us a follow or a sub. Really helps out. Retweet, like the post, and make sure you join our free Discord at discord.crackingcryptocurrency.com. There are deals down in the description to help you guys out in the cryptocurrency space, including a link to our exchange of choice, bybit.crackingcryptocurrency.com. It does support the stream. It is an affiliate link. But if you guys are interested in trading on the exchange that we trade on, that is the one that I recommend. It is the best user experience that I've had on any exchange. So again, I will shamelessly promote Bybit because that's what I trade on every single day. In addition to that, if you guys would like to learn how to trade how we trade and use the indicators that we use on stream, you guys can sign up for our premium trading group, which includes access to all of our indicators, our educational content, and our trading academy, as well as our live signals, in addition to mentoring sessions, depending on what tier of membership you purchase. That's all available on the website. Again, links are down in the description. With that out of the way, back to the chart. Thank you guys so much for watching. Now, as I said, let's take a look at the big movers of the day. Mina, RUNE, and Dogecoin. Okay, see if there's anything we could pull out of there. RUNE USDT. We're gonna do our TA on Bybit, or excuse me, on Binance, and then we'll switch over to Binance in the event. Now, interestingly enough, look at this on RUNE. All right, cool. So are we going to be out of line if we draw this trend line right here, guys? Are we going to be out of line? What if we draw from the highs? What do we think? Do we think this is the resistance pocket right there? It could happen. All right. So RUNE has pumped. RUNE, very similar to Bitcoin, has been in this range since 2021. So the market obviously rallied in 2021. This is basically the summer slump, the summer slump where we saw Bitcoin and all the other altcoins correct. Excuse me, guys. Big weekly buy signals coming in here and coming in here. Market pushes up to a previous level, or basically a new level of resistance. But we've had diminishing returns here, right? So we have a lower high here on RUNE USDT. Sorry, I want to get those schemas reset and simple moving average. So RUNE has been performing very well. But I do think that RUNE is in an area where we could be looking to take profits unless the cryptocurrency markets are just absolutely going to boom. Remember that alt season is typically characterized by a series of exit pumps on top of exit pumps, right? This is typically what alt season is. Alt season comes after Bitcoin reaches a peak, and then Bitcoin begins to move down and then begins to consolidate, and altcoins go for a run. And it's the kind of the idea here is that, you know, these are exit pumps, you know what I mean? Before crypto winter. So I'm going to keep my eye here on RUNE, actually for a big short trade. So let's establish, I want to establish some metrics here. And as you guys can see, oh, you guys can't see, but RUNE is actually in my watch list. I've been watching this for a while, but let's construct a trading idea here. Let's say, well, you know, in this situation, there's really nothing wrong with using this previous high. So let's go into the daily actually here and mark out this high daily close. All right. Why is that so big? All right, so we've got a stop loss level, and we're going to say a weekly close above, we're going to exit our trade. And that's not the actual top of the weekly wick, but it's really close. Now we're going to need some targets. So first off, let's use Quadriga. And let's see, just curiously, what Quadriga would recommend in this situation. So Quadriga is actually recommending this as the stop loss. And we have take profit targets at 872. 624 and 6580. So let's mark those out. And guys, I'm going to switch over to the big chart. There we go. I just want to be able to see a little bit more. All right, so all I'm mapping right now is this high volume node that I can see with the volume profile visible range. So there's two reasons for this. One, I want to know where current volume support is. So if I can see over time that price is unable to break below this level right here, between about 1025 and 1075, then I can know that the market might actually be shifting to the upside here, like on a big picture scale. And then we're going to go for like a blue sky breakout run on RUNE USDT. However, in the event that price falls through this level, then I would expect it to act as new resistance. And so this could be an area where if I see price lose this level, I could begin to enter into a momentum short, assuming that I'm not able to get a fill in this range right here. So I do think from that perspective that we're actually going to go here to here. That's a pretty big range. Yeah. But essentially, I am looking at this potentially as my entry area here, up to about 13,282, and as low as current price around 1121. So about an 18% range to enter the trade. All right, so this just makes sense to me. I'm looking for a big position here. And should I not get filled here, I could potentially look for a momentum short below these levels. And of course, I have my established price targets here. Now, I don't take trades blindly. I will look at my indicators to guide me through that trade. But let's take VPVR off here and let us now look at, yeah, so interestingly enough, essentially the baseline is coming in right below that area, that momentum short area right there. So we could also, again, we don't need any of these fancy drawing tools. You can simply use your indicators and we can look for price to fail here. Let's see if we can find any other convergence here. Sell signal over here, fine. And now we have regular bearish divergence from time transformation. You guys see that? Price has now made a higher high. However, our oscillator has made a lower high. In addition, we have falling volume, okay? So a lot of volume for this initiation of the trend, and now volume is reaching this top and petering off, and we haven't had a significant pullback to indicate that that falling volume is warranted. This is starting to look relatively toppy to me, right? Now, of course, anything can happen. We can just consolidate, push up higher, but regular bearish divergence. And if we zoom out to that weekly, we can also see, again, what I was talking about. Baseline off of there. We have, you know, our third potentially lower high, ending with a wick. So yeah, this looks like just trading the chart in front of me, guys. So RUNE is going to be at the top of my watch list now for a big weekly short position, and we'll see. We will see. We might take we'll see what Bitcoin does, but we might take a starter position toward the end of the week and then add as the trade moves in our favor. Yeah, I like that. Short it, JC. Send it to the ground. Okay, so we'll keep RUNE on the watch list. That's our analysis on RUNE here so far. Now, if price is able to break above this level, then we're going to be looking at a slightly different picture. Might even be looking for a blue sky breakout. Dogecoin is going to be next on the list. Okay. Okay. So Dogecoin has been in a downtrend ever since we peaked back in May of 2021. We just haven't been able to get really any sustained momentum. And this also is starting to look relatively weak here as well. So we don't have rising volume. We continue to have falling volume. Okay. And typically we would see volume increase as we reached a level of consolidation and a bottom. Now, of course, we did have this weekly time transformation buy signal. So beautiful. Everything picked up. So we've had a couple weeks of nice bullishness here. But I'm not really seeing what I want to see to consider Dogecoin really bullish here. That time transformation buy signal gives you a nice target. We now are trading up against the 55 weekly exponential moving average, acting as a little bit of resistance. So let's see if we can get, recently we just had all our moving average crossovers continue. I think that Dogecoin can overall establish a base here and move up, and we can of course continue to pump, but I would expect to see a bit of a pullback here, and then we'll kind of take it from there. Otherwise, I don't really have a big picture here on Dogecoin. I just don't, I'm not feeling it. Nice pump on the daily. Again, nothing but really lower highs, guys. So yeah, this is kind of what I mean. So back on the daily, I can see this as a potential bottom. Let's see if we got any divergence. So daily time transformation has been crushing it pretty well with these Dogecoin bottoms. And price has come up. We just wicked off, basically. We didn't quite reach it, but the 200 daily simple moving average, big volume spike after a bit of a move up. So we'll see if we continue to press up here, then hurrah. But I would like to see Dogecoin pull back here and maintain this level. Otherwise, this is just kind of looking like another top of the pump to me. All these previous pumps have terminated on big volume spikes as well. So yeah, Dogecoin's actually pretty easy to trade here, or has been pretty easy to trade. All you needed was time transformation, let you know when the bottom is, and to watch volume to know when the top was. So as we can see here, every time volume spiked to the upside, it's been the top. Volume spike indicating the top. Volume spike indicating the bottom. Volume spike potentially indicating the top. So we could short. I really don't want to short Dogecoin though. It's a little too volatile for me to want to short. But definitely would be looking for a correction. Let's go to the 45. Yeah, we can just see this on the 45. Big rising volume spike, and a lot of sell side coming in right here. Huge sell side volume. That's a huge volume candle. So, RUNE and Doge looking relatively bearish to me. Not bearish, but looking toppy. Cryptonomics thinks we pull back to 30 or 18, sorry, 18, 19 cents. All right, guys. We've been streaming for a little over an hour and a half. And we're going to have to call it there. All right. So good stuff, guys. So overall, quick summary of everything that we just talked about. There we go. Quick summary of everything we just talked about. Looking a little toppy, guys. Yeah, we see altcoins pulling back as well. Weekly timeframes, we can see some altcoins looking like they're beginning to run out of steam and they're close to historical resistance. We did look at RUNE and Dogecoin just now. And earlier in the show, we did talk quite a bit about pulse chains. So rewind the tape if you guys are just joining the stream. Sorry that you're just about to miss us, but rewind the stream. There will be timestamps here in a few hours. Huge shout out to Crypto Bull 21 for continuing to do that for us. Love you, brother. I highly appreciate that. Yeah. So rewind again if you guys want to check that out. Thank you, Jibbles. I appreciate that. JC says we never left the bear market. It is about to resume. Whew. It's over, guys. Send it. Send it to the downside. Let's slide over here. Okay, so. All right, so yeah, we covered a lot today, guys. As far as Bitcoin's price action, again, I still have my short position. We talked about pullback, potential continuation to the upside. We have resistance to break. Again, you can rewind if you want to review anything that we just talked about today until it makes sense. We looked at some altcoins. Altcoins continuing to move. We're still having some movers, but some steam is coming out of the market. So maybe a little bit more of a pronounced pullback over the next few days. We just got to watch Bitcoin. If Bitcoin breaks to the upside here, then it's likely altcoins are going to continue to follow. But we're already starting to see some profit taking here on altcoins. So protect yourselves, guys. Be safe out there. Trade safely. Proper risk management. Again, if you guys enjoy the content, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe if you have not already. If you're watching us on Twitch or DLive or Twitter, a like, a follow, a sub over there is always highly appreciated. We appreciate the community. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you haven't not yet joined in the Discord, make sure to hop in the Discord, discord.krakencryptocurrency.com. All the links are down in the description for deals, helpful advice, tips, cool services on cryptocurrency. Keep you guys safe in the bull or the bear market. Again, link to Bybit is down there. It is an affiliate link. It does support the channel. It is the exchange that I trade on, so I do highly recommend it. And if you're interested in learning to trade like we do, links are down in there, as well as in the Discord to join the premium trading group, get access to our indicators, our trades, as well as our educational online trading academy to help take you from zero to hero. Zero to hero. Oh yeah, baby. Always use protection. Anyways, we will be back tomorrow at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, 1 p.m. on the Eastern Seaboard for another episode of the Breaking Bitcoin Market Update. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, sarcastic remarks, hot stock tips, and/or death threats, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below or reach out to us on Discord. Until tomorrow, trade safely. I'll see you in the next one.